Good morning, Life Church. Welcome back to Bibles and Breakfast. Glad to be here with you. And uh, sorry we didn't have one yesterday. I was Knights Renewal, and I was just tired. So I apologize for us not having one yesterday. And I'm glad to be back with you. Uh, we preached part one of. I don't know if you can see that. Part one of phase two of Holy Homes, and we talked about the order of our lives, and that the first place is that God has to be in his place. Next week, we're talking about relationships, single seasons, marriage, um, all those types of things. Then the week after that, we're talking about children, we're talking about parenting, we're talking about the next generation, we're talking about leaving a legacy. The week after that, we're talking about our gifts, our ministry. And the week after that, we're talking about careers and finances, that if we prioritize our homes first around our relationship with God, and then around our marriage, and then around kids, and then around ministry, and then around career and finances, we can have holy homes. And so this is the notes from yesterday. This is one of those messages that it honestly, I just started, I had one flow of thought from Zachariah and Elizabeth's story, and then the Lord just started kind of steering in a completely different direction, and I started kind of meditating on it, getting it in my heart, and then I drew out this notes right here that I ended up preaching, and um, I want to kind of go through this message this week for Bible and breakfast, and I want to just kind of go through the story. And since we only have 4 days, I'm going to skip in the days of Herod. I'm going to skip in the days of Herod because I think you can follow, you can go to my social media accounts and things like that. But I've posted a lot about what I believe our call is right now in this cultural moment of politics, and that's to continue to bringing it back to the Spirit, what the Spirit of God is doing, which is stirring up people to come back to His heart and come back to Him. So I want to jump to kind of the second part of the message. Not in the days of Herod, but the second part. But they had no child because Elizabeth was barren, and they were both well advanced in years. I talked about on Sunday the reality of them being disappointed here. But one of the things I want to point out today, I want to take it deeper, and that's really what I want to use this week of Bible and Breakfast to do, is kind of go deeper into this story. What we see here is that they're disappointed, but beyond that, in Elizabeth's day and age, this was more than mere disappointment. It's clear that the Jews considered children to be a sign of God's favor, and they also considered childlessness to be a sign of his displeasure. And there's so often where we give ourselves the permission not to keep God in his place and walk righteous and blameless because of the things that we perceive that we don't have. And one of the reasons that sometimes we give ourselves that excuse or give ourselves that right is because we go, God, I've done X, Y, and Z for you, and yet I still do not even have favor in other people's sight. I remember one time in college where I took God out of his place, and it was a moment where I was having a tough time in baseball. And I'll never forget it. I had my freshman year, I got saved, or I really started following Jesus with all my heart going into my senior year of high school. My senior year of high school, I really tried to follow Jesus with all my heart. I made mistakes for sure, but I tried with all my heart. My freshman year of college, I tried with all of my heart. I mean, I didn't go to parties. I really tried to live the straight and narrow, was in church all the time, was doing the right things, was trying to walk blameless and righteous like Elizabeth and Zachariah. And I remember having a really rough freshman year of baseball. I remember I was having a rough year while everyone else around me that was doing all the things that you shouldn't be doing, they were playing great, and they were doing great. I remember going into my sophomore year having this thought, well, God, if I'm going to do everything right and fail, if I'm not gonna have favor in other people's eyes, and they're gonna dishonor you, and they're gonna get favor in other people's eyes. It's perception, right? Perception. That's what the Jews had, was the perception of child versus childlessness. Well, then, what's the point in even obeying you? In my sophomore year, I still followed Jesus, and I still did the right more than I did the wrong. But I also found myself slipping back. I found myself using marijuana with teammates. I found myself drinking. I found myself really going down roads of temptation. And it all began because I took God out of his place. And I put myself in the place of judgment against God. That, God, I've done all this for you, and yet you aren't giving me favor in other people's eyes. What I know now is that the favor I won in people's eyes in college wasn't recognized until years later of them coming back around and appreciating my faith. So it was all perception that I didn't have favor, and it was all perception based around what I was considering the prize. I wasn't considering Jesus the prize. I was considering performance in baseball prize. And I heard this quote from my pastor when I was in Miami, Florida. And he said, religion, the problem with it, when you live with a religious spirit, is that when you do bad, you think you owe God. But when you do good, you think that God owes you. And that's the problem with religion, with a religious spirit. A relationship with Jesus is about putting him in his place and saying, Lord, whether people accept me or reject me, I will walk blameless and I will walk righteous. That doesn't mean perfect. That means I will walk with integrity and character, and I will keep you in your place. How much holier could our homes be if we, despite what other people thought about our homes, ordered our homes around God's ways? Despite if we felt like we were getting our way and getting everything we wanted, we order our homes in God's ways. I think whether people accepted or rejected our homes, they would be more holy. So today, ask yourself that question. Is there anywhere where you believe that because you did good, God owes you, and where you haven't seen him do what you think he should do, you have caused yourself to have permission to accuse God and his character? Remember that when life is not as it is intended to be, it is not a sign of God's rejection, and it is not a time to accuse him. It is a sign and a reminder of the rebellion of humanity and the sin and the shame and the suffering that came along with that. And that reminder of that rebellion should bring us back deeper into relationship with the only God that can finish the story with redemption. I hope this blessed you today. We love you. I'll see you back tomorrow for a Bible and breakfast.